WNBA has finally done it. They've pushed Caitlin Clark to the point where she has to be thinking about getting the hell out of the friggin' WNBA or maybe even retiring because it's getting to the point where it's absolutely, utterly ridiculous. We're diving into it today on this edition of On Cue. Rich Quinones here. Happy 4th of July, everyone. So Caitlin Clark came out and she had and made her first comments since the throat punch. And you can tell it's getting to the point right now where the WNBA, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for because you are basically pushing Caitlin Clark to the point of no return. You are pushing her to the point where she's going to turn around and say, the hell with this, F you, frig you, I'm done in this league, I'll go overseas, I'll retire, I got enough money, I'll do 3-on-3, I'll do celebrity, whatever. The WNBA has to wake up right now. The WNBA is at a very pivotal point in their organization history. Okay, they really are. Because when you have the face of the WNBA, and let's make no mistake about it, Caitlin Clark is still the face. She is the face of the WNBA. When she's got to come out and she's got to have her first comment since the BS flagrant foul that was delivered on her by Alyssa Thompson, the throat punch, and, comes out, she's frustrated. She's frustrated with the media. She's frustrated with some of the fans that keep harping on every little thing about her and the fever, which is understandable because the spotlight now, it's getting hotter, brighter. And she's also pissed off with the officiating. She's pissed off with how the league handles her treatment. And she's trying to be as diplomatic as possible. Okay? But after a while, it's like enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I think we're getting to the point right now. And she even mentioned, look, the flagrant foul wasn't called during the game, but Thompson was suspended one game after replay review, which is just ludicrous. Just ludicrous. So she said, quote, I did think it was a flagrant foul, and our refereeing just needs to be better. Basically, she's telling the friggin' league, get your head out of your ass, do better. And it's tough. Obviously, the refs are in a really difficult spot. I think for us, the league, we just got to we got to be better protecting our players in that regard. So I don't really think that it was up for debate. There you go. There you go. She's basically telling the league. She's telling the commissioner. She's telling these other teams. She's telling the play. You know what? Enough is enough. Like, everyone do better. You should all be in it for the same goal. Yeah, you want to win, but you also want to make money. You want to have branding opportunities, marketability, marketing opportunities, more eyeballs. Keep playing, get paid to play the game that you love. And they continuously are robbing her of it. That's just the bottom line. They are continuously robbing her of it. And it's to the point. And her peers make it crystal clear that they can't stand her. They can't stand her. I mean, the All-Star vote, everyone gets up in arms with these other leagues when you talk about fan voting and peer voting and, having the list of who you think might be the most overrated player in baseball, the overrated quarterback in the NFL, or the overrated player in the NBA, or who flips, who flops the most. It's insulting, this All-Star game vote. It is. They can't stand her. So it's like, what are we doing? It's like, it's over and over, right? You're doing the same behavior over and over, and you're expecting a different result. It's insanity. Like, I give Caitlin Clark a ton of credit because I would have been like, the hell with this. I'm done. It's like the hate tour rolled on again. She didn't even have to take a shot to the throat this time. Like, how do you sit there and say she's the 11th best guard in the league? She's having another outstanding season. 11? What are we doing? Stop. Like, the fans voted Caitlin Clark second best guard behind Paige Buckets. Fair, I'll take that. The media said, you know what? She's third. Okay. But then you got fellow NBA players that ranked her 11th, which, again, it's beyond petty. WNBA All-Star Game vote counts fans at 50%. The players and the media each receive a 25% share of the ballot. I mean, come on. What are we doing? Yeah, happy 250. What a time to be alive, America. Come on. The league can't stand her. They hate her. They don't want her in the league anymore. Why is she subjecting herself to this nonsense? Why? Why is she subjecting herself to a league that has a commissioner that turns a blind eye to everything? Everything. She just does not care. It should be the end for Kathy Engelbert. It should be the end. It shouldn't even be the beginning of the end. It should be the end. Like, you're sitting there and you're condemning hate against by the way, definitely should. Absolutely, 100%. Like, just because this girl fouls Caitlin Clark and it was a flagrant foul and it was a BS foul and it was a physical foul and it was a deep shot and it was a cheap shot, it was malicious intent. You don't need hate out there. We don't mean it. We have enough of that in the world. You know nobody needs that. It is at the end of the day sports, right? 100% at the end of the day it's sports. But you're condemning that, but you're leaving your cash cow. You're leaving Caitlin Clark flat out there exposed. What do like? How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? You're basically leaving her exposed. So you're condemning hate for the player that fouled her, and you're not even defending the player that got fouled. It makes no sense. I'm telling you, if I'm Caitlin Clark, I would. I mean, I'm not, but if I would say the hell with this, and I would retire. I would retire. It's gotten to the point where, again, it is just, it's so evident. It's targeting. There's a bias against her. It's prejudice. They can't stand her. There's no other explanation. There's no other explanation. Like, how do you not clean this league up? What the hell is the problem? What are we doing? You can't allow inmates to run the asylum. You can't. And I'm telling you, this should be the end of the commissioner. She just always avoids the spotlight. She lacks communication. She lacks communication skills and style. So, yeah, you got the all-star, the starters have been announced, right? So you got the usual faces out there. Wilson, Stewart, Clark, Bucket, some new places into the mix. Here we go. Okay, fine. The W coaches pick for the all-star reserves. And, again, it's just no secret that at the end of the day, you've got to have your commissioner come to the forefront. You have to have your commissioner speak up. Okay? Like Clark, she's not playing Sunday. She's not going to play against the Aces. She's going to be out again. Okay? I mean, she's getting close to a return, but she's not going to play. She's not going to play. And that would have been a marquee game, the eyeballs, right? That's what you want on a great weekend where you have, the sports world buzzing with everything going on with the NBA in the offseason. An unbelievable game in the World Cup yesterday. Oh, my God, one of the all-time greatest matches I've ever seen, Argentina and the Cape. Shout out to the Cape. Tremendous amount of heart and cortisone. Unbelievable. You got baseball cooking and heating up. And you got a potential nice eyeballs on a game in which no one's going to watch. No one's going to watch. It's getting, listen, and I put up already the numbers. I already put up the numbers. Yes, there's a slight dip, right? But you've got a player now, and when she's not on 4K on Clark, you've got a player now. So she's active. She's under contract through 2027. They picked up her 4th-year option. But I would get it's not going to change. That's the problem. It's just not going to change. And that's you can bring in so much into this conversation, which, again, a lot of people don't like to hit certain points and talk about. But sometimes it's right in front of you. Sometimes you got to take it for what it's worth. Sometimes you got to keep your eyes open. I mean, it's embarrassed. It is hate. There's no other explanation to explain it. How do you sit there and say she's the 11th best guard in the league? And that's not even my bigger concern. My bigger concern is how the players treat her, how they target her, how the officiating, the refereeing is skewed against her. It makes no sense. She's 24. She's young. She's got a lot of basketball life left and a lot of career left. But if she leaves the WNBA is screwed. The WNBA is screwed. I don't know another league that has dropped a ball. You talk about the economic boom. She is responsible for a substantial portion of the league's revenue growth. Okay? She's also responsible for the global exposure. Why? Because she's on commercials. She's an elite shooter. She's a playmaker. She's unbelievable. People sit there and say, oh my God, watch how this girl plays. Have you seen this girl play? It's like drawing casual viewers who didn't really follow women's basketball, right? The Caitlin Clark effect, the CC effect. So now you got millions of fans, and it's raising the level and the talent in the WNBA. Media revenue, right? Oh, by the way, inspiring. You're talking about young fans that are now gravitating towards the game, young female players that are gravitating towards the game. Listen, it's all cynical too. When Reese started wearing the long sleeve, the around the leg, everyone's been doing it, right? So the fashion statement, everything. You look at Cunningham, you look at Buckets, you look at all these, and the league does have good talent. It does. That's why I get frustrated. I just can't stand the product. I can't stand the product because of how it's officiated. It does sometimes look like it's a glorified Saturday at the YMCA or the PAL. But you can't vote her. The players, they're basically telling you, we don't like this girl. We can't stand her for whatever reason. Pettiness, jealousy. She's gotten too much exposure, too much money. She's all over the place. She's too damn good. 11th best guard. She's averaging 21 points. She's second in the league in assists. like it's just to the point. The league is screwing themselves. Okay? They are screwing themselves. That's what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing right now. They keep pushing and pushing. Now, maybe subconsciously they're getting exactly what they want. DB chimes in, the league doesn't clean this up. They're screwed. If Caitlin Clark leaves the WNBA, they're screwed. I agree 100%. Yes. And that's the problem. She's trying to appease the players first, and she's got to think about the league as a whole in totality, right? And I'm not talking about just, thinking about Caitlin Clark. She's got to understand everything's connected. Everything is connected. It is. And it's going to get to the point where I'm telling you, you got a player having another big year, 22 points, 43% shooting, both career best, 4 rebounds, close to 6 assists. She's tied for the league in scoring, second in assist. And yet we're going to sit there and say she's the 11th best guard in the league. I mean, if the commissioner had any common sense, she would sit with a cup of coffee. She would watch the game against the Mercury on June 24th. She would watch it, and she would watch with another all-star player, an all-star forward, and Thompson did, hitting her in the throat. And I'm sure she's watched it, but watch it in real time. Watch it, slow it down. Watch it several times, and then hold on a second. So yeah, the player is getting hit, but the player that got hit, I'm leaving her totally isolated on an island. And the fact that the league reviewed the play after the game and ruled that it warranted a flagrant 2 is like, whoa. Why did you have to do it afterwards? Why? Because of all the friggin' backlash on social media to protect the queen, to protect Caitlin Clark. Now, death threats, not a fan of that. Hate messages, not a fan of that. That's just jackass clowns in the world, and that's just fools, and they're the most dangerous people, someone with nothing to lose. There's idiots on social media, and you never want that. Thomas should not endure any of that. Nobody should. Nobody should, whether you're talking politics, whether you're talking religion, whether you're talking sports, whether you're just talking, no one should endure that kind of nonsense. But the commissioner also has to come out and say, yeah, we need to do a better job. We have to understand that we got to protect all our players at all levels. They are the league. We appreciate their efforts. Without them, we have no league. And that's why Caitlin Clark turned around and said what she said. She's getting pissed off. She's getting fed up. She's getting tired of the nonsense day in and day out. And the pressure, I think, it's starting to weigh on her and get to her because everything is magnified. There's scrutiny because, again, the rabbit hole people don't want to talk about. People don't want to talk about it. There's been this discourse, this discussion. Do they not like her because, she's white? Do they not like her because she's this? Do they not like her because of that? Why are X, Y, and Z players doing this? Why are they treated a certain way? Oh my God, I can't believe it. It was a black player that punched her in the throat and she's the white cash cow. Look, we know how it works in the world. Sometimes we got to have these honest conversations. No one likes to bring the race equation into it. They don't, but that's the reality of the world we live in. If we're not talking about it, then it's almost as though everyone thinks, what color are the clouds in your world? Let's not be naive, folks. There's very good talent, white, black, in the WNBA. There is. And it can be a great product. It can be a really good product, but when you have former ex-players that are not coming to Caitlin Clark's back, and you got to have Sophia Cunningham, who doesn't hold back on the WNBA when they're talking about Caitlin Clark, good for her for having the balls to say what a lot of people are thinking. I'm telling you, if I am Caitlin Clark, I let it play out. Pardon me. But I get to the point where I have to weigh risk to reward, right? Again, you're at the job and you're the one doing all the work. You're coming in early. You also know that you are the one that is supervising, helping out people, staying late, putting in the extra time. And you know what? You're being taken advantage of. You're being taken advantage of. You're mistreated, toxic environment, a lot of hate going on, harassment, forcing you to work on the holidays. And you're sitting there saying, hold on a second. Enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. I'm just going to have to go and I'm going to have to take my talent somewhere else. Because this is madness. That's where we're headed. And I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you what's going to happen. When she decides to turn around and take her ball and say, the hell with the WNBA, the league is screwed. The revenue will drop off. The ratings will drop off. The talent will hit the floor. It will drop off substantially. It will drop off substantially. Why? Because they are deciding to keep shitting on this kid. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing, period. Period. You've got good talent. You can't let a bunch of jackass players piss in the wind and ruin the talent. You can't ruin the league. The commissioner is a coward. She has no clue how to run a league, much less build it. She doesn't. She doesn't. She doesn't. And I think that's why you might see more players who are going to be or heading towards that Caitlin Clark or, all the great players that we talked about, their talent level, where they might say, I'm going to go overseas. They just might do that. They might turn around and say, I'm not going to deal with this league because this league is a freaking joke. Look how they're treating X, Y, and Z. And quite frankly, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I really wouldn't. The league right now is forcing Clark to really kind of to think about her future. Really. This is what the league is doing. And it's like be careful what you wish for, is all I'm saying. Be careful what you wish for. Because if after the end of the season, she turns around and she says, to hell with this, the league's screwed. And the problem is the league never knew how to handle a player like Caitlin Clark. It's like, okay, all of a sudden we're just going about our business and now we become famous overnight. Like they dropped the ball from the get-go. They dropped the ball from the get-go. They could have played this up. Oh my God, they could have milked it for so much for what it's worth. And they just dropped the ball. They're forcing Clark to think about her future. Is it worth it? I'm 24. I don't need this aggravation. I don't need this. It's like, whoa. It's like they don't care about this kid. They don't care about ratings. They don't care about broadcasting deals and rights. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, what are we doing? I mean, it's, you hate to. There are, like I said, there are conversations that people don't like to have. People don't like to have. And look, whether it's sexual orientation, whether it's race, creed, social status, political belief, I don't care what these players do outside. I don't. I've never, I don't care. WNBA, NBA, as long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're not committing crimes, I don't care. If an NBA player played for the Knicks and he was gay and he was averaging 25 and 13, I don't care what his sexual orientation or I don't. And I don't care what these girls are, to be quite honest with you. I don't. I just want to watch sports. I want to appreciate talent. But if you don't like someone, if you've got that, if you're like homophobic in that regard, or you're anti this or anti that, then I don't want you near me. I don't. I don't. And I don't care. White, black, yellow, green, blue. Man, as long as you produce. I win games. As a fan, I'm enjoying it. Win championships. All that other stuff to me is smoke and mirrors. I've always thought that way. I'm never going to change in that regard. I'm not. But you just can't. And maybe I'm naive to this. Like, you've got talent in a league that can go to the next level. Really. It can be the showcase league where, it is the coup de grace when it comes to female basketball, right? I mean, we've got the WNBA, I'm sorry, we got the NBA, but if you look overseas, there are some countries that have their own little mini NBAs, because they're fanatical sports fans and they knew exactly how to market it. Sure, the NBA is a global game. We're talking about it left and right. Oh, we talk a lot of hoops on the show. It's a global game. It's got global appeal. The WNBA was never prepared, okay? Let's just be honest. They were never prepared for Caitlin Clark. What they were thinking was this. They were, and this idea of what Acho said, the league is better off without her, is ludicrous. But in one regard, it's ludicrous, but it's also, well, he could have actually sounded intelligent by saying you take her out of the league, then all of a sudden there's really not too much of a distraction, but you're cutting your nose to spite your face. And the issue is the league was never prepared for Caitlin Clark because her arrival shattered revenue, shattered viewership, shattered listenership, shattered stuff going on social media. And they couldn't, they had that, that great meal. They were cooking up the great meal and they were getting ready to serve everyone and everyone was happy. They were bringing their drinks and they were bringing their wine and they were bringing their families. And here we go. We're going to have a big feast and we're going to celebrate. And then someone decided, I got to run out and get ice. And then watch the meal burn. Like the WNBA did that. The WNBA, the infrastructure, the operations, the standards, the protocol, they could not keep up. They couldn't. They just couldn't. I mean, how do you omit Caitlin Clark from your promotional materials talking about 30-year commemorative campaign? Like, that's like the NBA keeping off Michael Jordan. Honestly. So the one play, I mean, like, who's in charge of that? It's like, I'm laughing. It's comical when you think about it. Can you imagine drawing up that poster and going to Humperdinck, Engelbert, the commissioner, the goofball, and saying, hey, do you approve these specs? Do you approve this? And she's like, yeah, let's run with it. And then, oh, by the way, the intern's like, hold on a second. There's an omission there. You forgot Caitlin. Nah, get into production. Let's go. What are we doing? Like, you can't be that blind. You can't be that oblivious. You can't. You can't be that blind and oblivious. I mean, what are we doing? Oh, my God. I get it makes no sense. Yeah, run it through the press. Let's go. Get it in production. Let's get the posters out there. Put it out. Let our PR team put it out on social media. I mean, that's like leaving Jordan off a poster. That's like leaving Brady off an NFL poster. It just doesn't make sense. And it just proves my point even more. They are pushing her to the point where she will make the decision on her own, and then they're going to play the victim. Never told her to retire. We never told her to go play overseas. I mean, hey, we know she was a great player. We know she put fannies in the seats. We understand all that. We know that. It's comical. It's comical. It really is. It's absolutely to the point where this league has totally mismanaged. Not even about expectations anymore. Because you've got the spotlight and the friction around Caitlin Clark and the treatment by veterans and fellow players. And then what happens is, like anything else, and again, we don't like to talk about this, you get what? Fractured locker room dynamics. You know why? Why do you like her? Why do you hate her? Why do you support her? Why are you always dogging her? Why do you target her? Why do you protect her? It's like life. It's playing out. It's like life in general. I mean, if you want to talk about viewership, revenue records, they've all been broken since her arrival. If you want to talk about key incidents by opposing players and the league's responses since her arrival, it's there. If you want to talk about controversies, voting, it's there. I mean, it's just, again, it's getting to the point, this kid's going to turn around and say, freak you guys. I'm done. I'm retiring. Have fun. Let me know how the league is in 3 to 5 years while I'm playing overseas. And by the way, I still got my night contract. Now, again, that's something else that we brought up a couple weeks ago, and people were arguing with me, and they didn't understand exactly the point I was trying to make or convey. And I wasn't trying to be rough around the edges with it. What I was saying is the mass appeal Nike wants to kind of keep her over here because of the, you talk about massive domestic partnerships, right? So she's got that signature Nike Caitlin 1 sneaker. She's got the apparel. They want to kind of keep it in the States for purchasing and buying power. I'm not saying they would turn around and they would shun her or break that contract. But again, it's a little more to sell when you're stateside. It's a little more easier to sell. Now her apparel goes, and again, the shoe is selling. So it's everything rolled up in one. And there's a difference, like Sarge chimes in Q. It's just a young player being iced out. I think you're making a big deal about nothing. I think you're naive. This is not Kobe getting iced out in the All-Star game. It's not. It's not. This is not Vic coming in the league and people trying to take extra shots at him because they can't catch him. There's a difference between hazing, young players, or getting on young players that are rookies, right? Or testing them. But there's also a sentiment where, look, you have to, if you're a league, protect the players that are creating revenue. And what's happening, and it's a good point, DB, like someone somewhere is going to turn around and say, well, hold on a second. We can build a league like this. Now, I can tell you from calling games in the States and overseas, calling basketball games as long as I've had, there are so many leagues in the U.S. There's so many leagues in the U.S. Like you look at NBA and then you go G League, right? Years ago, the D League. Then you go, these new TBL, the basketball league, right? Which has 50-something odd teams, getting a little saturated. Also in Canada, the BSL, the Super League. Then you go USBL. Then you go 9450, right? 9450, TBL. I call games for years for the TBL. I call games for 9450 this season. Then you've got, lower, right? You have leagues down south. You have like the ECBLs. You have the ABAs. You have the NBL, the Maximum Basketball League. Like these are all lower tiers. Guys out of college, an opportunity to get their reps. Make a couple bucks. Some of these leagues don't have to pay players, but 9450 did a fantastic job. Okay, did a fantastic job because a lot of these players played overseas, like Jersey Shore, Chris Smith, J.R. Smith's brother. Chris Smith played in Louisville, played with the Knicks. Like they have very good players. Some of these guys were studs that were in college and overseas. Like it's developmental, right? Feeder league. And if you go overseas, what makes overseas unique is this. When you can get those extended, visas. So for instance, January, February, I call games for Warriors Thailand. Obviously, I don't go over there. I call the games remotely. And the time difference is just a pain in the ass because it's a 12-hour difference. But I'll call 6 games every Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, 12 games in total. They run concurrently. And after the season, players stay because you can do a 6-month visa. So a lot of times in Asia over there, in Thailand and whatnot, you can play, 3-4 months, right? Then you can turn around and you can go to another league. So they keep it going. They keep it running, right? Now, the pay scale is dramatically different, obviously, than it is in the States. Some of these leagues are pay to play, and you just get exposure, you get on film. But there are also leagues that will treat certain players like kings and queens overseas. I mean, there is a substantial, Marbury, even after his career, became a king in China. Like, there are leagues that will pay top dollar. They will. They will pay very good money, okay? Spain pays money. Turkey pays money. Australia's NBL, they pay money. Italy's LBA, Serie A, Greece, they pay money. China's CBA, Puerto Rico's BSN, they pay money. Iceland, they pay money. Caitlin Clark can go and play overseas today. Today. There are players in the WNBA that can play overseas today. And what's going to happen is when you have a player that decides to pick up and walk, okay, most impactful athlete that ever walked, tripled the value of everything in her first year. That's a great point. By the way, that's a hell of a handle. That's a hell of a handle. Reese from Philly, the Red Dragon. Yeah, that's a great point. Like everything, right? The return on the investment. You go to the casino, $100, you walk out with 1,000. Oh man, tenfold. There you go, 10 bagger. Like the investment, the return on the investment has been unbelievable. Imagine if tomorrow she said, "See ya." I mean, the backlash. Oh my God! Can you imagine? You think for 1 minute people are going to some of these games? I would not even imagine. I can't even speculate if Clark retired. Okay, if she decided I'm going overseas or I'm going to retire, okay, I'm wondering the attendance, the drop off. I mean, it would take such a massive hit, and oh my God, like people don't understand. Those that hate on Caitlin Clark, they have no idea the leverage she has at this moment. She's holding all the cards. She's holding all the cards. They would experience a massive... I'm not watching this shit. I'm not watching this nonsense. Pfft. It would be such a massive, immediate hit. Television viewership, ratings, attendance. Now, it's different. Now you're going to get that drop in game day revenue. Because on the road, ticket sales surge. So now all of a sudden you take her away, see ya. You're not going to get new audience retention. You're not going to get long-term security. You're not going to get television broadcasting right. You're not. They're going to be broken in half. You're not going to get sponsorship. And you're going to get players that are going to follow her. They are in the WNBA right now. Is in such a precarious position. They really are. They are in such a precarious position. It's not like the billions, billions, hundreds of billions that the NFL, where the NFL has, say what you want about Roger Goodell, but there's a reason Roger Goodell makes 60 something odd $1 million a year. There's a reason that the owners love Roger Goodell. Say what, and I'm not the biggest fan of Roger Goodell, but there's a reason he makes 63, $64 million, and he's under contract through March 2027. He got that 3-year extension. Because we know 90% of his comp is performance based, and he's hitting financial goals. The NFL is a cash cow. No one will ever compete with the NFL. No one. No one will ever compete with the NFL. It's not even up for debate. These other leagues, you don't stand a chance, man. You might have talent. You might get some eyeballs. It might be a fun product to watch. Never going to touch the NFL. The WNBA can be the NFL. When you're talking about female basketball, global game, they can. They can be the NBA. But they choose not to. Why? Because of ego and jealousy and pettiness and hate and miscalculation, misinformation. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they have in front of them. And that is dangerous. I'm telling you, that is dangerous, because if Caitlin Clark decides I'm taking my ball, the hell with you, they are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. They are. What a great opportunity for a player, Angel Reese, step up and be outspoken to end this type of behavior. I think it's an opportunity for a lot of players to step up, to be quite honest. I really do. I think it's an opportunity for a lot of players to just step up. James, the only problem with leaving in endorsements, they pay more for the U.S. marker. It's a good, I brought that up, James, and thank you. Yeah, I did bring that up. And I think that's where the discrepancy came in. Now, I've known players that have played overseas, that have played over in Thailand, and they were making $25,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month. Like, they were getting paid. They were getting paid. But to your point, when you talk about Caitlin Clark and the Nike deal, they would want, we get it. You want to go overseas, but more marketability here. You're 100% correct. And by the way, that's a $30 million contract, right? And because she's primary played overseas, you're talking about, if you go overseas, I'm sorry, in the States, if you sign overseas, you talk about the distribution, right? Then you're handling that globally. I mean, it's a massive deal. And that's why I think, and Nike probably should have turned around. Once this kid came out of college, they should have given her a shoe right away. They should have gave her a shoe when she was in college. But they dropped the ball there. They dropped the ball. I'm so proud of what she is, how she controls herself, how she plays the game, her class, everything about her is to be proud of. And I want nothing more than the sport to these beautiful tennis shoes that she wore on the last game. Trouble with the WNBA, really. Follow the money, follow the bookies. But Bob, here's the thing. It's not like the NBA, right? Where you got Beasley sitting there, and all of a sudden you're down 9, and the line is 8.5, and I got to sprint down and get that bucket to cover the nut, to cover the number. It has nothing, when you talk about the WNBA, and it's not even about betting, right? I mean, it's available, DK, FanDuel, BetMGM, but we're talking apples and oranges, man. We're talking you're talking apples and oranges. You're talking about an impact of a player that decides, I'm done today. What I'm leaving on the table and how it affects. It's when quarterbacks retire in the NFL, we still watch. Like, honestly, think about this for a moment. When Peyton Manning retired, we still watched. When Elway retired, we still watched. When Marino retired, we still watched. When Brady retired, we still watched. We watch NFL games. We watch preseason games. We watch training camp content, all these highlight shows. Hell, raise your hand. How many of you guys sit there in July and August and you go back to the NFL Network when they replay all the highlights during the weeks. We all watch. We can never get enough of the NBA, the NFL. The NFL survives. It survives. Oh my God, what's going to happen when Mahomes? Nothing. Oh my God, Lamar Jackson, what's going? Nothing. It's different with this league because there's only a handful of really good players and just a couple great players. And then on a level that she's at. And you take that away, it totally waters down the product. Interesting. I wish she would turn her back on the WNBA right now. Here you go. I will assure you I will never watch another WNBA game without her. I am curious, were you guys watching the league prior to her arrival or after she arrived? I am just curious. There's no right or wrong answer, by the way. Whatever you guys say. Or whatever the viewing audience says, you say. I watched the WNBA before she arrived because I'm a basketball junkie. I love basketball. I don't care what the league is. I've been watching a lot because I do more overseas broadcast. I've been watching a lot more overseas, and it's interesting when you compare it to the NBA, the ball never touches the floor. It doesn't. The ball never touches the ground. It really is crazy when you think about it. I'm like, man, wow, they're really getting out there and they're running. They're running, man. Look at this. Boom, 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 bang, coffin corner. Here we go. We're ready to roll. Ball never touches the floor. And there's some really good talent. I mean, I enjoy calling these games. Like I enjoy basketball because, I grew up on the sport. I love the sport of basketball. And obviously I love soccer because I grew up with soccer and playing soccer and played for a long time. And the World Cup's been phenomenal. I mean, it's just been a thing of beauty. But, with basketball, a lot of people, I believe some of the older fans maybe start to, oh man, have you watched this girl in college? You watch this kid play, right? After her arrival, viewership went up 50% once she arrived. That's a staggering number. That is crazy. I stopped watching it because it became too frustrating. No, and that's fair. I think people don't like the physicality, the horrible officiating. There was a great, I mentioned this the other day, and this is something I'll probably talk about next week, just kind of tease it for you guys. But everything is ratings. Everything is ratings. So in the NBA, and you guys know, or for those that are just tuning in for the first time, which I greatly appreciate, I'm a Knicks fan. So the argument or the debate, I did not like the officiating in the NBA Finals. I think we can agree it was bad. It was skewed towards San Antonio. But when you listen to Windhorst come out and mention that memo that went out because the NBA was so desperate to stretch these postseason, stretch the finals, and the Knicks made a mockery of the postseason. They made a mockery of the NBA Finals. It's one of the reasons that you lose viewership, you lose revenue, you lose sponsorship, you lose advertising, and then what happens? That affects the bottom line, the cap. And that's where someone's like, all right, well, maybe this is one of the reasons the Knicks, screwed themselves out of that second apron. But it goes back to the eyeballs, the revenue, the money. Everything's hand in hand, as you guys alluded to. Like Nick and Wallingford says, Q, it is all about the viewership, period. That opens up the door for revenue, which opens up the door for what? Growth, 100%. So the reason I bring it up is to say this. When you turn around and you watch a product that can be great, can be really good, when you watch a product that can be really good, you go back for more. You go back for more. Now, it's different with the NFL. Like I said, the NFL, it stands alone. It stands alone. Because as much as people complained when Michael Vick got arrested, which was horrible, for the dog fighting. I mean, I I went on the air and I destroyed him. Said he should never play in the NFL again. I would not be a team that even gave him a look. Well, he paid his debt to society. And I remember I was on the air in Delaware on 1290 The Ticket, a Fox Sports affiliate. And when the Eagles signed him, the backlash. And after it died down, the first thing I said was, and pardon the allergies, guys and girls. The first thing I said was, it's going to die down. And all the fans that are saying they will never watch the Eagles again, never watch the NFL, as soon as Michael Vick runs for a touchdown or throws a touchdown pass, you're going to be back in. And it was quickly forgotten. That's where, the NFL is kind of different in that regard. Like, the NFL, the fan base forgives. Honestly, they forgive and they forget. I don't think that's the case with the WNBA. I don't think that would be the case in the WNBA. Hell, we're seeing all these betting scandals in the NBA. And we're still watching, and we know. We know who has their hand in the cookie jar. Evelina, appreciate that. Thank you. First time watching you, Rich. Greatly appreciate what you do. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you. That's very kind and humbling. Honestly, thank you very much. I do it for you guys. I love the engagement. The show is about you guys engaging. You guys know that. We always love the engagement. Yes, we have our guest on during the week. Yes, we break down a lot of topics. Yes, we're going to have a ton of players come on during the NFL season and whatnot, but it's for the engagement for you guys because obviously we're hopeful down the road to set it up. We want to be able to start having you guys phone in, and that's something that we're working with our good friends over at Coastal Sports Digital Network down the road. But you guys chime in, you comment, we want to read them off, good, bad, or indifferent. And that's the one beauty. It's like we're not trying to be filtered. We're not trying to put a muzzle on anyone. We're just trying to give you some entertaining content, something to think about. And I think with the WNBA, to what you guys are saying, what everyone is saying, is that if you force and push her to retire, you've basically screwed yourself. You've dug your own grave. And that's where they're going. And as much as some might think that I'm blowing smoke, some might think that I got the hot take going on, I say what I believe. I say what I feel. And after this season, she's going to go, she'll sit, family, friends, PR team, and someone in that room is going to say, you know what, Caitlin, you got the Nike deal, you got millions, you're so marketable. You know what? Threaten them. Leak it. Put it out there. Clark contemplating retirement. Caitlin Clark has had enough. Watch what happens. It's like you're in the relationship, right? It's like you're in that relationship. And, well, hopefully you're not in this type of relationship. But let's just say you've ever been in one of those relationships, or when you're younger, right? Because when you're younger, everyone falls in love like 13 different times. They fall in love like 16 times in one day. So you're dating the girl, you're 19, 20, you're dating the girl, and all of a sudden she's not answering the calls, and then she turns around, and maybe you find out from a friend that she went to the movies or went out with someone else, and oh my God, she's cheating. You got to threaten her. You got to say, the next time you do it, I'm walking out, like the threat, the veiled threat. Here we go, right? That's what she needs to do. She needs to call their BS. The WNBA is basically telling Caitlin Clark, F off. There's really no other way to say it politely. They're telling her, we don't need you. We don't want you. We don't even like you. Now, if you gave them truth serum, maybe there's one smart person in the commissioner's office. I don't know. It could be a friggin' intern. Probably sitting there, drinking their cup of coffee. Maybe they're sitting around drinking their nice little, fresh roasted coffee. Show notes, by the way, if you guys are coffee drinkers. Use the promo code below. You save 20% on me, first purchase. But maybe there's someone in there saying, Commissioner, you realize if she walks, we fold. You realize if she walks, we fold. Like someone has to plant that seed. And Caitlin Clark can plant the seed of doubt. She can dangle it. She's got the leverage. She can call the bluff. She's got the winning hand. She can turn around tomorrow or after this season. Man, well, I'm kind of tired. I want to reevaluate. And then, boom, what's going to happen? First of all, you heard it here on July 4th. Right here on Q. You heard it first on my channel. But what's going to happen? All the talking heads now are going to be those WNBA experts. All the talking heads are going to come out. See, I told you months ago. You didn't say jack. All you basically said was the league needs to do a better job of protecting her. And you left it at that. Right? I've been watching the WNBA because of Clark and Wilson, fantastic player. Now I'm done. Can't wait to see the ratings for the All-Star game, especially if Clark doesn't play. Wow. I do have a relationship with the WNBA now only because of Caitlin Clark, and it's painful to watch what they do to her. Yeah. And I would be saying this for those that are asking any other player of that talent, that buzz, her reputation, her body of work, her resume, her appeal. I don't care if the player is white, black, yellow, green, blue. I don't care. I don't care. Where it's a heated topic of discussion, again, then I'm telling you right now, it is because we start to throw out and people say, you don't like to bring race into it, but there's always an element of race, which we can't deny. We can't deny. Like, I'll let other talking heads and other shows gloss over that. But there is an element which I think stinks. I think sucks. I don't care. Like, for me, I'm not trying to play Switzerland right now, but I'm giving you both sides of the coin. You know where my stance is. I think the league treats her like garbage. I think there's a prejudice against Caitlin Clark. I think they are seeking out to basically force this girl to take her ball and leave. Whether you want to sit there and say it's because she's a white player, she's a straight white player, she's a straight white great player, whatever. I'll let you guys talk it out amongst yourselves. But I can tell you this, if she was a black player and they were doing the same crap to her, I would have the same type of opinion. I would say this player needs to take her ball and get out of here. Period. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care where they're from, how they were raised. I don't care the color of their skin. You can ball, you can ball, you can play, you can play. Let's just get that out of the way. For those that maybe are thinking, I'm thinking something else. Like, it's on the record now. Do with that as you will. You can play, you can play. You can ball, you can ball. You bring in those eyeballs, those ratings, that revenue, that mass appeal. Pfft, I don't care if you're turquoise, purple. I don't care. Orange. I don't care. I'd be saying the same shit today. I'm tired of it. It's BS. It's got to end. It's got to stop. It does. It's a piss poorly run league. Period. Period. Yes, because people don't want to talk about it. Evelina, people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. It makes people uncomfortable. For the record, I was just as pissed off when I saw Brittany Griner body slam Angel Reese. The league allows the kind of play and is completely wrong. There you go, DB. Rational, objective, a man with integrity and character and morals. Correct. I just don't like the product. There's talent, but the way they referee and officiate, it's like there's a difference between old school basketball, right? And listen, by the way, WNBA, female basketball, any league, I'm okay with being physical, right? It doesn't have to be a clean, beautiful sport. No. I mean, come on, man. Did you watch the World Cup yesterday? But, and don't get me started with that. Because they are trying their damnedest, FIFA, to basically push through the team that they want to get through. I mean, some of the missed calls yesterday, and this is a guy that loves the sport of soccer. Played it my whole life. Love it. But, I mean, some of these players are not even touching. It's an O-leg. And they drop. Like, I'm all for being physical, but there's a difference between being physical and dirty and just not basketball, right? You watch the NFL in the 70s, you're watching guys like Tatum close arm people, Atkinson close arm people. That was the sport was so violent. That was the brand of football. Remember those highlight reels you would see? I mean, that shit can't fly today. You touch Mahomes with a fingernail. It's a 15-yarder. It's a personal foul. It has to do with the quality of the play. And it's not there. It's a bad product. And it'll be worse when she leaves. It'll be worse when she decides, that's it. I'm gone. See ya. It's like that option, that nuclear option no one is talking about. Nobody wants to touch. One player can literally cause a whole league to fold. I mean, think about that for a second. I know Joe's like, Q, you're such an exaggerator. Tom and Summers point, Q, what the hell's in the coffee? Stop. I'm telling you right now, one player, one player, they are basically backing themselves in a corner. And as I said, I don't care what the player looks like. My comments, my thought would not change. You have to be able, if you are the commissioner of the WNBA, you got to put a stop to this. You can't come out and let me go on the record for those that are just tuning in. We're talking about for the first time, I believe Caitlin Clark is basically getting ready to just say enough is enough. Whether she decides this year, next year, done, take her ball, go overseas, get the hell out of the WNBA. It's just my opinion. I hope it doesn't happen. It's just my opinion. But the commissioner comes out, and you should never condone. This is why I hate social media too. But it comes with the territory. It comes with the territory what I do. Do radio, do my podcast, do my broadcast. Social media is so friggin' bad. It's so bad. It's toxic. It is. Like, you should not, if you're on Facebook, it's all fake. If you're on X, don't get upset when someone tweets at you because it's only words. But it becomes very volatile, very toxic. I can't condone fans of any team, of any player, of any sport, sending hate messages to someone. There's no place. And everyone hides behind the keyboard. Hell, I've had people troll. I don't care. It doesn't bother me anyway. I've been doing this for a long time. I've had people, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff over the years they've said to me when I was on the radio, when I do this. I don't care. Come at me. That's fine. You're watching. Thank you. But you don't sling hate at players. So I'm all for the commissioner backing the player. You should. I'm all for the commissioner coming out and saying, do not send hate spewed messages to someone because they fouled a player. Thomas, pardon me. I'm all for that. That kid doesn't deserve that. That's upsetting. She shouldn't have to put up with that shit. She shouldn't have to deal with that. Bunch of clowns. Idiots. Hate. Racists. We don't need those kind of people. Get out of here. So in one breath, hey, that's good, Commissioner. That's good, Engelbert. Thank you. But in the same breath, in the same vein, she's also exposing Caitlin Clark. Like, did she counter that by saying, but with all that being said, look, I understand fans' frustration. The league has to do a better job of protecting the star players. I have to do a better job of policing the league. I have to do a better job of enforcing punishment. I have to do a better job of understanding my own league. There's nothing wrong with saying that. See, people who have egos, that have other people to answer to, that have cash cows all over, that are feeding the masses, that are basically picking up the tab, sometimes they don't want to admit when they can't do their job. They don't want to admit when they're incompetent. Or they don't want to admit that they made a mistake. Like, the ego is such a powerful thing with these leagues. Like, how many times have you ever seen a commissioner of these sports leagues in our country turn around and say, we made a mistake? They never do. They're not going to. How many times do we see it on politics? They never do. We never see it, ever. Ever. So what's going to happen is you are having a moment, a pivotal moment where Caitlin Clark comes out and says what she says, right? She says what she says. I'm telling you right now, the players, if they see Caitlin Clark pick the ball up and go, that's it. That's it. Tanya chimes in. I appreciate that, Tanya. Thank you. First time here. The W has 3 owners, team owners, MBA, and investment group. Any thoughts on why they're letting this stuff go on? So it's a great, great, great question. You got to remember something. Apples and oranges with the NBA. So I'm going to keep that comment up. The commissioner, and you got to, I have to. Okay, so if you go back and if you look at the history, right, the WNBA, the history, the timeline. So if you go back 20 something odd years, right, you had what, 8 teams, 10 teams. And if you go back to 95, 96, the NBA basically said, we're going to help you create this league. The NBA board of officials decided, hey, branch off. Here we go. And Val Ackerman was their first president. So now you fast forward 5, 6, 7 years, they start to do more expansion. After that, you had a little more of the CBA upgrades. You had a lot with the collective bargaining agreement, right? So if you break down the ownership structure, team owners, so it's a mixed bag. The WNBA is you got 3, as you mentioned, which are 100% correct. You got 3 stakeholders. You got the WNBA team owners, the NBA team owners, which the NBA is not going to how do I say this? They're not stepping foot in the WNBA office. The NBA is worried about the NBA. I mean, they got so much crap going on right now with the Knicks breaking the league because they won a championship and all this betting. I mean, Silver's not. Point is the breakdown: WNBA team owners, NBA team owners, and then you've got private equity. Private equity, we don't know because it's private. 16, 17%, I think they got a stake a couple years ago. So, to your point, if the WNBA team owners had that 43%, then what do we have? We have a little more cachet. We're not splitting with the NBA. They're not going to look to the NBA for advice. And the private investors, it was a capital raise, so they don't care. They just want their return on their investment. So the WNBA, which is crazy, it doesn't really own itself. It's very complex. Even when you start talking about media rights, league sponsorships. But my whole point, or to your point, to your question, which is a great one, when you have, again, private equity, they're doing their thing. They're only concerned about their return on their investment. What can they write off? What are they getting at the end of the day? That's all they care about. The league needs to police itself. And it starts with getting rid of the commissioner. Okay? The league needs to. The commissioner, I don't know if she is trying to, again, and you've heard the phrase, we've heard it, you can't appease 2 masters. You can't. And I don't know if she's trying to do that, but she's not fit to be the commissioner of the NBA. She doesn't have the business acumen. She doesn't have the street smarts, because you have to. You have to. You have to have a mix of balance. You know the old adage, book smart, street smart? Well, I was never really book smart. I was street smart. And then you learn to be a little more book smart. You know, you got to weigh that. You know, whether it's 52, 48, 49, 51, 50, 50. She doesn't have really either of it, to be quite honest with you. She doesn't, because she doesn't know what's going on in her own league. Or she knows, she just doesn't care. She just does not care. And it's very hard for someone else to come up with a new league. Like, there's a smaller tier league that's called the WABA. It's very, very small. But they don't have any sustainability when it comes to longevity, making money. And I know some of these teams, and I call some of the games for these teams. It's a lower tier league that is basically allowing the players to continue their playing career. Now, I think they've done a good job over the last several years of trying to grow it. But the problem is a lot of leagues are saturated. So when I try to get in a league, if say Tanya and I want to grab a team, we want to go to the new 9450, which branched off from the USBL, which was part of the TBL. And we want to buy a team. We want to be market owners. Okay, we're paying X amount of dollars. We're responsible for the league fees. Let's just say it's, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000. Referee dues. We have to provide the venue, transportation, player salaries. We got to cap it off. We're not paying a player per game. No. We'll go bankrupt. What we'll do is give you a monthly stipend. So DB, Tanya, to Nick, Sarge, you guys are getting paid $1,000 a month. I don't care if we play 4 games. I don't want to play. We can't play 5. We got to cap it off, right? So now think about that. Do the math. Venue, transportation, league fee. So I'm already in for about 55, 60, 70, 75 G's. Oh, that's not also, we're going to stream the games, cost of production, talent, game day operations, merchandise. That's another 50 something. I'm already in for $1.25. Now, where am I going to make that money back? Can I serve alcohol? Can I serve liquor? If I'm playing at a venue here, if I'm playing at a small venue, am I playing at a high school venue? Am I playing in a JUCO gym? Am I playing at a college? Down south, if I'm down south, if I'm in New York, am I playing in North Jersey? Am I playing in the city? It adds up, man. There's no sustainability. How do I recoup that? How do I get a return on my investment? I have to sell what? Advertising. I got to do it on my own. Oh, wait, I'm going to hire a team. Wait, I'll use interns. Wait, I'll pay them a percentage. I'll give them a commission. It's not sustainable. Unless you've got money to burn, it's very hard to last in these leagues. And then what happens is when teams start to fall off, when teams start to drop off, then, and I say this with respect, it almost becomes this little street pyramid scheme. You got 50 teams, you can't pay the nut, 10 of them drop off, we're going to get 10 more next season. And you're paying for the marketing rights. So you're cutting me a check right up front for $25,000. You're not getting that back. So it's not sustainable. So when people sit there and say, hey, another, like now you have the Upshot League, which has shown credibility. It's done capital raises. It's raised funds. The Upshot League is a new league. It's a new league. It's a women's basketball. It's called it's Upshot League. It's Women's Basketball Uprising. It's uplifting players, fans, and communities. Like, that's a good tagline. That's a good tagline. Think about it. That's good marketing. It is. They got a clean website. You move left to right. It's very easy to maneuver. And it looks like they've got some big time backing to it. When you talk about the expansion teams, when you talk about who they have backing the league, they understand it. The WNBA, there's zero protocol. There's no rhyme or reason. There's none. There's no policing. There's no standard operating procedure. How can you succeed in that? You can't. So I know I went on this long tangent, but think about it. This is why when people are like, just create another league, it's not sustainable sometimes. Some of these leagues are so small, there's no price, there's no cost. You might pay $1,000 to have a league, and then you're responsible to venue, you're responsible logistics with traveling, for scheduling. You look at some of these leagues, say like the ABA, which has been around for a long time. Joe Newman has done a fantastic job. He was a radio guy, he had radio stations, he sold them all over the place. Now he's got the ABA. It's old school. You get the steal in the backcourt. The red light comes on. 2 becomes a 3. 3 becomes a 4. It's a phonetical pace. You don't have to pay the players, but you might have 50 teams in the league. You might play a 25-game season, October, November, December, January, February, March, which bleeds into 94-50, USBL, TBL, which goes to June, July, which then goes to Summer League. See, that's why, to take it full circle, that's why my point is, for someone like Clark, or some of these other players, go overseas. You get the long-term visa, 6 months turns into a year, you keep jumping country to country, and you're getting paid because they're constantly paying. Or in Asia, you've got so many leagues that are running January to March, March to April, April to June, June to July. And you can make some more bang for your buck. It's a little more sustainable. You might not make as much, but you'll be treated like a queen or a king. And you'll still be able to have markability. Still be able to have markability. CC's brand is worth more Then the WNBA. Come on, CC and her Facebook has verbally harassed and abused from the day one. No one calls that out. And her, I don't know what you're saying. So you're saying they rip other players? No, listen, I don't condone any of that. But see, now remember now where we're going, right down the rabbit hole. So her backers, you know this as much as I do. It's like in politics, right? When you really have a belief, sometimes it almost becomes borderline goofy, fanatical, right? Almost downright scary. So they should not, and I don't condone any of it. Again, if they do that, then they're clowns. Then they're fools. I don't condone any of that. I don't check those groups out. Like I said, sometimes you go on social and it's just beyond toxic. It's beyond toxic. It's disgusting because people have nothing else to do with their lives. All I want to do is watch a good product. I want to see a league that's run professionally, and I want to see the players treated the way they deserve to be treated. And I look around right now, and the one player that I'm not saying kiss her ass. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But treat her with some respect, a little dignity. The players hate her. She's not the 11th best guard in the league. You want to argue second, third? That's fine. Her numbers back it up. But she is the cash cow. I don't understand. If I'm part of a company, and if I'm let's just say I'm a rep, I'm an account executive, and you guys come in and I don't know, whoever's the boss, and then someone's the supervisor and the boss, and then there's the manager, and they bring in a new rep. And I'm trying to train a rep, but then I realize, hey, man, this rep is unbelievable, man. They can go out, they can sell, they're hitting their quotas. Whew, I'm looking like a genius here. Or she's making my job, or they're making my job better, and they're making the company better. And then I'm like, oh, wait, whoa, hold on a second. My department now, because of this rep, we're going to hit our quota, we're going to hit our money, we're going to hit our revenue, we're going to hit our goals. I'm going to make a bonus off of this. My hourly rate's going to, I'm doing everything in my power to appease that person. I'm going out of my way. I'm riding. Why not? I'll ride the coattails. Is that so hard to do? Am I asking too much? These players that are going out of their way, or these players that are being influenced to just go out of their way to be more physical with her than other players, or cheap shot artists, and not do it to other players, all they're doing, they're screwing themselves at the end of the day. They really are. And I'm wondering, I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of these locker rooms, or when they're talking about, because, players text, players talk, they go on social, you hear what they say, they go back and forth. I guarantee you it's caused such a divide because stuff like this always does. It always does. Like everyone was up in arms. Jackson Dart introduced to POTUS. Oh my God, there's going to be a divide in the Giants locker room. Well, maybe for 5 minutes. But I think for some reason in this league, it's just petty. It's such a hot topic constantly because it always comes back. It centers around what, right? And if you're just tuning in, Rich Quinones here on Q. Appreciate all the comments, the new viewers. We're going to get to more of your comments as well. Powered by our good friends over at Play It Again Sports. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Yeah, I wanted to fire off on a Saturday. We usually go Monday to Friday if you're new to the show. If you like the content, definitely subscribe. That's the best way you can help me out and support. But I wanted to get into this. I want to get into more of the comments. Video chimes in. They need to deal with the bad refs, expand the challenge system for foul strikes with new demands. They need to upgrade that, yes. But you know what else they need to do? Pay the refs like they're full-time and hold them accountable, right? They need A and B teams for each teams. I don't think they're going to do that. But I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, right? Have the NBA refs in a game NBA, and you will have a 40-minute free throw competition. Oh my God, Mike, can you imagine? Oh man, I wouldn't call it. Here's the thing: I'm not calling it. I don't like that term, and everyone's entitled to their opinion on the show. It's not thug ball, and No, they can't. Most high schools, with all due respect, even some of the great ones, they can't outperform. These girls are extremely talented. I just think it's a physical game. And what happens is, for some of the fans that might be new to it, for some of the fans that might not have watched it, you turn on for the first time and you're seeing, hard fouls. Or you go on social media, or you watch the national, and let's be honest, they only show you what they want you to see, and you see a player punch a player in the throat, and right away you're like, oh, this is too physical for me. This is too violent. That's not the case. It's a physical game, and it gets ugly at times. But to what a lot of the viewers today have said, clean it up, like police it more. There's no way that you have to rewatch the foul the next day and then assess the flagrant and the suspension. That's bad officiating. That's bad refereeing. That's bad job all around by the league. What I would suggest if I was the NBA, and this is me, how you can kind of clean up the officiating, like any other sport, right? Any other sport, we know that there's a mess. We know there's an officiating problem. We know it's bad in a lot of sports. So Caitlin Clark said, hey, man, pay them like full-time employees. You know why? Because then you can hold them a little more accountable. So the league now, because she's helped the league bring in more revenue, put it back in the product. Invest. Improve the efficiency. Train them. Train them. Like, clean it up. Clean it up. The foul count is absurd. You got to sit there and have like a task force, excessive contact. Do you know the average foul count in the WNBA is 43? Like, what are we doing? That's horrible. And it's magnified because of what happens with Thomas, the Connecticut Sun player, right? And I'm not trying to, spotlight her. It's just that was the play. She's a good player, but it was a BS play. So you have to, again, protect your players. You have to clean up the inconsistency. Like, if you pay them full time, you can hold them accountable. You can grade them the right way. You can suspend them, hit them in the wallet. I've said that for years with the NFL. Like, don't give me these new zebra crews when the playoffs are rolling around and these guys aren't in sync. And I think that's what one of the commenters meant, A and B. So I apologize if I didn't understand that. But now that I think about it, I think that's what you were saying. A and B with the officiating. Like, A and B, you're legit A team, your B team. If that's what you were trying to make. I think that was Mike. If not, I apologize. I just wanted to be clear with that. Sorry, Mike, you're wrong. Clean up. Enforce the fouls. Eventually, the play will open up and be more entertaining. Let me see. Now, I told you, I read all these comments. JS says, hi, Rich. In my opinion, it's hard to fight against the LGBTQ activists. They're protected by titles and union. I work with, gay workers who were underperformed, and boss didn't want to touch the matter. Now you're going down a very, very deep, steep rabbit hole, but I appreciate the comment. And I would be a hypocrite if I told you guys can comment freely on the show because we are unfiltered. You are allowed to comment what you want to comment. I don't always have to agree with it, and you certainly don't have to agree with me. I think there's an element where we have gotten lost in how to handle certain things. There's been an element that, look, at the end of the day, I don't care if someone, color, creed, sexual, it does, live your life. So leagues embrace that, right? They want it to be a welcoming space. We know that. I think Thomas has a relationship with Bonner, right? So these are high-profile relationships, Carrington and Smith. So the league embraces that, and you want that space for LGBTQ and their fans. I'm all for it. Again, just let me go and enjoy it. Let me watch good production. good broadcast, good talent, entertaining. But I also think there's a difference between, see, we live in such a, the way the world is, this is, again, my opinion, the way the world is now, it is kind of scary, because if you breathe the wrong way, if you say the wrong thing, if you look at someone, I watch these videos, and I know they're not AI generated. You've got these gym influencers, these content creators. Now, allow me to go off on a tangent for a minute. And I'm all for the gym. I'm all for fitness. I love to have a healthy lifestyle, right? I'm all for that. But you have these content creators, and let's just call it for what it is. A lot of them are young girls because they think they're going to be the next Kardashian or whomever, and they're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. It ain't happening, my friend. It's just not. You can be attractive, you can be charming, you can be engaging, you can be intelligent. It's not happening. I'm sorry. It's like such a rarity. And by the way, you know, Kardashian gets out of that limo with Paris Hilton, and everyone's like, forget about the blonde. What about the brunette? Right? Just to fact check some of you guys. But yeah, these gym influencers. So they're working out. They got the camera going. They're working out. And you just might have a male guy walk past them. So it's normal. I mean, the last time I checked, when I walk down the street or I'm outside, I like to gaze. I like to people watch. I like to look around. Just because I'm looking at you or my eyes meet yours, it doesn't mean I'm creeping. It doesn't mean I'm a predator. It doesn't mean I'm trying to hit on you. It doesn't mean I'm invading your space. But what happens? That snippet is captured and then it's put out on social media. People like that need to be exposed because they're frauds. And there's a guy on X. He does an unbelievable job. He's like the gym. I don't even know what it is. Like, it's like the last line of defense for that kind of stuff. He calls everything out. My point, even though it's long-winded, my point is this. To your comment, I think we should not be in fear of policing the workplace. We should not be in fear of calling out someone for underperforming. And that has no. If I'm working my job, my orientation, my race, creed, my sexual orientation has nothing to do with my ability to do my job. It has nothing to do with if I can meet my quota, if I can hit my numbers. Like, if I'm using that as an excuse, then I mean, why do I want to even? A place of business should not even want to employ you. Like, we can't have these crutches, is what I'm trying to say. Like, to your point, and I know it's sensitive to some people, but this is what we do on the show. We talk about this kind of stuff. You got to be held accountable. You have to be held accountable. If you're not performing, you're not performing. A boss is allowed to call you out, right? I hired you to perform a job. If you're not performing the job, I need to know why. Do I need to train you better? Do you need to put in more time? Do we have to have one-on-ones? Do we have to have, performance evaluation? Now, if I'm the employee and said commenter is the boss, we'll say JS, who commented, right? So he's my boss, and then he says, Rich, Q, you're not doing your job. And if I sit there and I scream X, Y, and Z, well, stop picking on me. It's not unfortunately, that's where we're at in society. So yes, some have to fight that fine line. Now, with me, I'm unfiltered. I'm sorry, if you're not doing your job, you're not doing your job. I don't care how you're dressing, what you're saying, how you're acting, how you talk. You get paid to do a job, period. Sorry if that comes off as insensitive. You get paid to do a job. I get paid to do a job. I don't think anyone wants to hear excuses when I'm broadcasting. If I had a bad day, or if I'm a little more sensitive to something, or if I didn't sleep, or if I broke up with someone, or someone broke up with me, or I had an issue with Kiki, God forbid, right? Had to take her to the vet, and I was upset. Stop picking on me. Stop picking on me. Stop picking. No, you do a job. Sorry, you do a job. Period. If you don't do your job, I'll find someone else to do it. Clark draws 4.7 fouls per game. She's drawn 9 flagrant. You know when it's real bad? When Clark can't even clap. As always, tell it like it is, Q. I try, Michael. I try. You can't fight an agenda bigger than you. CC against the league. No, that's where I'm going to disagree with you. That's where I'm going to disagree with you. To me, Caitlin Clark is holding all the cards. She's holding all the cards. She is. Follow me if you guys are just tuning in. So I came on the show earlier this morning because of Caitlin Clark's comments coming out about the league, and they need to police themselves better, officiate better. You know, it's getting to a point, you listen to her, she's getting frustrated, right? And she's starting to see the pressure now. You know, again, what goes on with social, everything's magnified. Hey, man, I will say this, Caitlin Clark, that's your lot in life, right? You got to deal with that because of who you are. Sometimes the spotlight, you can feel it, right? You get a young fighter in there, and all of a sudden, you know, he's making his pro debut. It's not amateur. You take that headgear off, that first round or two, starting to sweat a little bit. You're feeling the pressure. But I think it's getting to a point now where she's going to start to have people in her ear. You don't need this anymore. This is BS. 11th best guard in the league? The league hates you. The league pisses on you. The commissioner doesn't give a shit you. The commissioner is backing players that are basically punching your throat, and you're on an island by yourself. Take the ball and go home. Now, what would be really crazy if Caitlin Clark, this is really going, you know, now Q's going a little local right now, but what if Caitlin Clark decided at the end of the day, I'm going to form my own league? I mean, why wouldn't you? After all this stuff I told you about, all these other leagues in the States and overseas, hey, man, go ahead, CC. Go ahead, do it. I mean, people will watch. If she decides to retire, if she leaves, the WNBA will fold. It will cease to exist. I'm telling you right now, it will have a hard time of sustaining itself. The drop-off will be massive. And it's not like one of these things where all of a sudden something's canceled and people forget about it. You know, the news drops on a Friday. Why? Pardon me. The news drops on a Friday because people... The outlets or the PR, the spin is people will forget about it on Monday. That's why they drop it on Friday. Why do they tell jobs, you got to let someone go? You do it on Friday because they're less likely to come back on Monday. Everyone knows that. I'll never forget the first time I was working in a restaurant, they fired me, which, by the way, I've never gotten fired from a job. I think it was more of a... organizational change when I was 18 years old. No, you know what? The restaurant brought in new owners. That's what it was. The restaurant, I was working like 40 hours a week my senior year in high school working at a restaurant. And I'll never forget, they brought in new owners. So I wasn't technically fired, but they brought in new owners and I was devastated. I'm like, I'm crushing it back there. Grill man, doing the dishes, busting tables. I'm on fire. What are we doing? Just getting paid cash? Oh, you kidding me? It was worth it. It was worth it. I'm not dating on a Saturday night and I'm making bank. And they came in and I'll never forget. I'm like, on a Friday, my whole weekend sucks. My whole weekend is ruined. Well, there's a reason they did that because by Monday I was over it. So to your point, yeah, listen, it would be such a drop and hit. It would be unbelievable. They really are screwing themselves and the league over. It is beyond a self-defeat. You know what they're doing? They're playing like fire, like Kate was yesterday. Eventually, he was going to come back and bite him in the tushy. By the way, that was honorably by Kate. So what's stopping them from cleaning up the refs? I don't have an answer to that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's not welcoming, it's not exclusive. You might be onto something. I think they just look at her for some reason. You know, Paul says retirement, talk about clickbait. You got to be listening for the last hour and a half, Paul, but you clicked. You clicked. You clicked. I'm not losing you guys. I don't, or if I'm losing you, I apologize. So Paul says clown show. Well, you tuned in. If you listen to me, what I'm saying is it's getting to the point where, and you clicked several times, it's getting to the point where she's going to take her ball and she's going to decide, I don't want to play in this league anymore. Listen, you guys think athletes don't spur the moment retire. You think for some reason athletes decide they wake up one day and enough is enough? So because I don't agree with you, you know, you sit there and say it's inclusive. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe it is. I don't have to necessarily agree with it. I think it's a situation where, are you telling me that they're treating her like this because she's straight? I mean, let's just have the conversation. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? They hate her so much because she's a straight, white, great player. See, this is what I love about doing what I do, because, I'll say what some are thinking, what many are thinking, and they don't want to talk about it. I think they just can't stand her because she's a great player. And she has all the accolades and the endorsements and the shoe deal. And she's put fannies in the seats. She makes the league a substantial amount of money, broadcasting rights, the deals, the eyeballs. You take her out of the league. If she decides, to hell with the league, I'm going overseas or I'm going to retire, the league folds. It ceased to exist. I don't even think that's up for debate. It might not happen today or tomorrow, but it's going to happen. So we agree to disagree. You want to sit there and say that it's inclusive, that's fine. That's your opinion. But I throw out the question, and I'm still waiting to hear the answer. I'm still waiting to hear the answer, right? Exactly. So why are they not doing their job? It's the activist agenda they're up against. I don't know if that's 100% correct. That's all. And we agree to disagree. And if you're out, you're out. I'm okay with that. Like, you guys, listen, you're entitled to your opinion. CC holding the cards because she's against the league. I don't know. Listen, she's holding the cards, yes. Yes. She's definitely holding the cards. She definitely has the leverage. But you guys, see, the problem is with some of you, and this is what happens when you go down the rabbit hole and we have touchy conversations, sensitive conversations. You guys want me to believe what you believe. You're pushing the narrative at me. You're telling me that this league is so inclusive, they can't stand Caitlin Clark because she's a straight, white, great player. And I'm telling you, you might think that's the case. I don't think that's 100% correct and accurate. And you don't like that I have an opinion on it. So you're pushing back and you're trying to force feed it down my throat. See, that's the other thing. We can have the back and forth. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But don't tell me for 1 minute, don't tell me, and it's not the clickbait, I'm telling you right now, she picks up her friggin' ball and she says, frig the WNBA, she retires, she goes overseas, or she gets 20 players to start another league with investors and backers. The WNBA is friggin' cooked. And I don't care if you think it's clickbait. I don't care if you think it's a hot take on July 4th. I don't care if you sit there and say, I tuned into this jackass for the first time and he validated his jackout status. I'm telling you right now. But I'm not going to buy into what you guys are trying to shove down my mouth. And maybe you're not taking what I'm delivering. And that's fine. That's fine. You're entitled to that. But don't tell me she doesn't hold all the cards. She most certainly holds all the cards. She most certainly holds all the cards. She gets up today and she says, screw the friggin' league. They're done. They're screwed. And the league is pushing her towards that. Why? Because they don't protect her. They bash her. They piss on her. They do not protect her at all. And the players can't stand her. Don't tell me she's the 11th best guard in the league. Stop. You want to say second or third? That's fine. That's fine. You are supposed to protect those that are helping your business make money. You're supposed to back those that are protecting you, making money. I refuse. I am not, because I got a couple jackasses, chiming in, even on X. You guys can think what you want to think. I respect the fact that you guys are coming at me. I like it. I love it. I do. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to agree with you. I'm sorry. Like, you got the wrong guy. I feel as though sometimes people have these debates and these arguments, and right away, you want to force it and push, and this guy's going to turn. He's going to 180. I'm not doing it. I told you what I think. Does race play an equation here? Is race an element in this discussion? It is. If it isn't, we're in denial. Emmanuel Acho saying what he said, that's clickbait. That's clickbait. That's clown talk. That's race baiting. You can't sit there and say, Caitlin Clark, see again, nobody wants to hear these conversations. Caitlin Clark served her purpose. Imagine me saying that about another player in the WNBA. And see how fast someone tries to cancel me out. Look, people have very strong opinions when it comes to certain things. Politics, religion, race. This is where we're at in the country. People have certain, they just stand firm. You know, they hang their hat here, they hang their hat there. You are entitled to that. It does not mean I have to agree, and it doesn't mean you have to agree with me. But what I'm not going to do is placate. I'm not doing it. I never have. I never will. I'm not going to placate. I'm not going to tell you what you friggin' want to hear. I'm not. It's not happening. It's just not happening. Clark got a ton of attention the moment she stepped out of college into WNBA. There are players that are very jealous of that, and it sounds like that's what's happening today. That is 100% correct. She leaves the WNBA and is cooked, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's done. I'm telling you. Or they might go to the Upshot League. Imagine Caitlin Clark goes to the Upshot League, right? She leaves, and it might be 2 or 3 years, but it's an immediate reduction of viewership, and eventually the end. Yes, it is the beginning of the end. I think we can agree with that. It will be the beginning of the end of the league. Now, what if she goes to the Upshot League? She should go. Absolutely. Don't let the bunker, but never. Listen, what's interesting is when you start to agree, everyone's on board. But then when you push back a little bit, what happens? They go back in the bunker. That's what they do, Michael. We've seen it. They go back in the bunker, and that's okay. 2 to 3 years, the league will be irrelevant if she leaves. If she were to leave after this year, see, the mid-season effect would be ridiculous, but it's not going to happen. But if we were to creep in towards the beginning of the year and then the buzz started to come out, that's a little different because it would be a gut punch to the WNBA. They would have no idea what the hell just happened. And look, they were not prepared for her arrival. And that speaks to the incompetence of the commissioner. It speaks to the incompetence of how the league is run. It speaks to the incompetence on how they view Caitlin Clark. It really does. Because you're going to have some good talent coming out of college. Now, are they going to sit there and say, I'll go over here, or I'm going to play with the Upshot? Upshot's got some backing. They did a capital raise. Here we go. Game on. 2026. People, when you love a player, when you are fanatical about a player, when you are obsessed with a player, it's like, I'll give you a perfect example. It's like in soccer. When you see these transfers of these players, especially over in the Premier League or in other countries, right, in Europe, you might not like the team they're playing for, but guess what? If you love the player, if you love Messi, if you love Ronaldo, you're going to follow them. You're going to follow them. You don't give a shit what jersey they're wearing. You don't care what league they're playing in. You're going to follow them. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. She leaves this league, creates her own, goes overseas, goes to the Upshot League. The fan base, 60, 70%, they're following this kid. And you can't tell me otherwise. And then the WNBA is friggin' cooked. Cooked. Nick chimes in, Q, the one thing I've always appreciated and respect about you, you never do back down. No, there's nothing to really back. It's not about me forcing. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm giving you my thought on the state of the WNBA. And again, it literally, I'm telling you, this Upshot League, it's going to grow. I'm telling you right now, it's going to grow. And everyone that's saying it's clickbait, I don't do that. I know basketball. I call games. I'm entrenched in basketball. I've covered the league. I've covered leagues. And I cover a lot of what's going on overseas. And all I can tell you is this. I speak to a lot of people. Within WNBA, NBA, these other leagues, overseas, in Europe, in Canada, whether they're agents, whether they're players, whether they're team owners, whether they're market owners. I'm entrenched in it. That's why I do my Overseas Dime show as well on the channel, because it sheds a spotlight on what's going on overseas. These leagues now, the Upshot League has come on at just the perfect timing. It's the perfect storm because they're going about it the right way. They're going about it the right way. They have the horses backing it. They have the horses backing it. I mean, when you can go out there and you can raise what they raised, that tells you there's buzz, there's credibility, there's legitimacy, and it's a good product. It's good production. It really is. It's good product. It's good production, and they have former WNBA players that are backing it. Charlotte Crown. They got former players. They're doing it the right way. You got legendary players because they realize the WNBA is a shit show. And they also realize we can capitalize on what's hot right now. What's hot, what's sexy, what's trending. It's female basketball. WNBA because of Caitlin Clark. Some of these players, it's trending because of them. Let's jump on board. Let's jump on board. I mean, these players are good. Ariel Hearn, I think she had a triple-double. She was like player of the month. Trust me, I watch this crap. Don't question if I don't watch. Don't question my knowledge of it. I know what I'm talking about with this. And I'm telling you right now, the WNBA continues to do what they do to Caitlin Clark. It will make her decision that much more easier. And she doesn't need the money. So guess what? I'm going to go. You're right, Rich. I would devastate the W. It would be devastating to W if Caitlin Clark left. I watch only because of her. Tanya, all right, Tanya, good to hear. So I'm on the Upshot site. Yes. Catchings, Miller, Advisor, CC Love, CM. It's not too far-fetched, the new league. It's not, but hey, you know, people think it's clickbait. That would be a serious power move. Oh my God. I'm telling you, it's going. You guys think that? Yeah. Well, you know what? It would not only be a serious power move, it would be the biggest FU. It would be the biggest FU. It would. And the thing is, and you guys are stating, you justifying my comment. You are justifying my comment right now. A lot of you guys are. You guys are saying you will watch it. You will follow her. You will follow her. They are doing it the right way. Because you know what they're if you research the Upshot League a little more. Research it a little more. Like I said, see who's behind it. See the backers, right? So it's all about power, culture, women's hoops, future, right? Power, uncovered, powered, culture, women's hoops. Like they want to protect the players. They want to showcase the players. They want to market the players. They want to brand the players. But they want to put a good product on the floor that's not nonsense. They want a league that's run properly and professionally. And they have that core four. They got a core four, man. They got beast behind that. They got beast behind that. They got backing. They got money. They got production value. They got talent. And they got people in place that understand the sport of basketball. And they're trying to open up doors for the players. And they're opening up doors for people that want to get in, operations, understand roles, agents, talent, game day ops, broadcasters. There's growth, there's excitement. You know, they got the investment. Meanwhile, the WNBA, you got the commissioner with her head so far up her culo, she's only concerned about protecting players that are punching Caitlin Clark and leaving Caitlin Clark exposed on an island. What are we doing? Like, what's the conversation really about? Take the ball and go to the upshot league. Take the ball, create your own league. Take your ball and go overseas. Watch how fast the WNBA friggin' crumbles. And then you sit there and you want to have a conversation with the commish. She might be working friggin' bagging groceries. I don't know. Just a piss poor job by the league, the WNBA. Horrible job. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Horrible. Whoever decides she makes up. Well, what? There you go. Upshot League, traditional 5-on-5 women's professional basketball league. Co-founded it, former WNBA. Look at this. DB on top of it. It's going to grow. It's going to grow. Used to be. Yeah, but you got. Here's the thing. Oh, good job. Here's the thing, Tanya. Here's the thing. Remember now, a lot of times they come in just to get her off the ground. Right? They come in just to get her off the ground. Look, I think, again, if you're smart about it, if she's smart about it, you know, the options are there. The options are there. That's all I'm saying. And if they continue, if the league continues down this path, then, you know, this is what's going to happen. She's going to decide it's not worth it. Other players will look at how she's treated, and you're already seeing it. You know, Cunningham came out and said what she said, and they will decide it's not worth it. Because this is not how they envision their careers. So, all right. Good job, everyone. Nah, not clickbait. I like your handle, though, Radio Man. I never said she was retiring. I never said that. But you clicked. So I guess mission accomplished. But I like your handle, Radio Man. What is that? Radio Man 46. I like the people that troll. You know, obviously by the comments for an hour and 40, you guys have been entertained and engaged. DB right there with the breaking news. No, she has not been traded. But that's clickbait, DB. What I'm saying is, it's a conversation that needs to be had, especially in light and view of her coming out and making those comments, because she is getting fed up. She's getting fed up with the league. She's getting fed up of her treatment. She's getting fed up of how the league handles, or lack thereof. And the topic of a conversation when we started the show was, again, is it getting to the point where the league is pushing her to make these hard decisions? I never came on the air and said today she's retiring. I said it's a conversation that needs to be had. She's 24. She's got the night deal. She can play anywhere she wants. She can leave. She can come back. She can go overseas. She can create her league. She can go to the Upshot League. These are options. These are options. That's all. That's it. No worries. No worries. No worries. You guys can vent. You guys can vent. Uh-oh. Now we got the Q crew coming on. DB says, Radio Man, you missed over an hour of the conversation. Don't come on here and make a statement like that. The Q crew does not like that. They are a loyal bunch. Listen, you guys are entitled to the opinion, like I said. Certainly not clickbait, but it's a conversation that I think after the season, I can tell you right now, again, if she gets frustrated, it's like anything else, right? You know, you get to hear these quarterbacks, oh man, I'm getting a little tired. Joe Burrow, right? What was the thing with Joe Burrow? Man, it's not fun anymore. And then what did the talking heads talk about on Monday? Joe Burrow's going to retire. He's contemplating retirement. No, they just talked about how it's starting to wear on him. And here are some of the options going forward. What does Cincinnati need to do? They invested in the offense. Now they got to fix the defense, right? Burrow, top-tier quarterback in the AFC. Here we go. Got to a Super Bowl. Lost it to the Rams. What can they do to get back there? You know, that's how it works in this world, right? You just kind of break it down like that. What happens if CC gets badly hurt in the next few weeks? Well, I mean, listen, she's banged up already. Right? She's banged up. So, again, I think if she's not available, look, obviously it hurts the Fever going forward. If you're talking purely from if she misses a substantial amount of time, the ratings dipped. They didn't dip dramatically because there's a thought of she misses a game or two. So you might sit there as a novice fan, turn on the Indiana, Caitlin Clark's not playing, put on Netflix. So a little drop. That's all. A little drop. Nothing like monumental. But if she's out for an extended period of time, then yeah, they take a hit, especially knowing now you got the All-Star game, All-Star break right around the corner. And oh, by the way, the 11th best guard in the league, which is a crock. Right? Which is a crock. It just shows you, it speaks to where they're at. Admit that's a huge concern. Correct. I don't know. Listen, I said you guys are all for comments. I mean, you guys can see that comment. David, I wholeheartedly disagree. And I think that's what we ran into earlier in the show. Look, there's always going to be this element of white and black. It's the world we live in. It just, there's prejudice, there's racism. It's all over the place, man. It's absolutely all over the place. It's sickening. I mean, I can tell you, even when I was starting off, I had a radio station tell me once, I need to shorten my last name. I mean, come on. What are we doing? It's Quinones, right? I'm not going to shorten it to Quinn. So, listen, I think there's I don't think there's an element. Let me think about this. Nobody knows what somebody thinks. I can't tell you, I can try to guess what you're thinking or speculate, but I don't really know what you're thinking. With me, I tell you my thoughts. I try to convey them on the air, and I'm very honest and transparent, and it probably rubs some people the wrong way. I said 2 weeks ago, why is there prejudice against her? And I hate bringing up the black and white issue. And somebody pushed me on it, and all I said is, well, do they not like her because she's a very good white player? I would say the same thing if she was a black player. Did they not like her if she's a very good black player? Like, why is there this treatment? So there's always going to be the element of race, the elephant in the room, that many people don't like to talk about. And it's just how it is. It's a sensitive, touchy subject because, again, it's taboo. There are great black players in these leagues, and there are great white players and Hispanic players and Tarazzi Italian players. The bottom line is this. There's an element, I think there's a hidden element that needs to be peeled back. There's a hidden element. There's something within, right? We always say the good old boys network. Can't break through the good old boys network. Somebody has to pull the masses aside, the commissioner inside, and say, hold on a second. What's the problem? What's the problem? Like, why is there treatment and resentment? Do you just, again, come out and just say it? I told you this before. You want to break up. You're cheating on me. You don't love me anymore. That's fine. Don't let me go through your phone. Just tell me. I'll be okay. I'll be hurt. Be a little upset. I'll be okay. I'll live to fight another day. Just come out and say it. Say what we know to be true. That's all. Say what we know to be true. Say what we're already thinking because we know it's accurate. And I think at times people don't want to do that. I think there's an element. They look at Caitlin Clark, and again, she doesn't fit the mold. She's not what the league is. She's not what the league wants her to be. And that's not Caitlin Clark's fault, and that's not a knock on the league. My whole issue that I've been on the air for almost 2 hours now, and obviously it's resonating with you guys and girls, and I appreciate it greatly. I appreciate it greatly because it is a hot topic. My goal was to not come on this Saturday morning and spend 2 hours on the air, okay, and sit there and try to get clickbait because I mentioned the conversation of Caitlin Clark retiring. I never suggested once she's going to do it. What I told you is her comments the other day, it's trending towards a very frustrated individual, a frustrated young lady, a frustrated person who's a talented player who's made a boatload of money for a league that, let's be quite honest, if she's not in it, not a lot of friggin' people are watching. We're not having these conversations. It's not leading off the national networks. It's not headline news. We're not fixated on the fact that she got throat punched for 2 weeks. So now the option is what? Do you continue down this path? Do you make a left? Do you make a right? Do you keep going straight? The ball's in her court. She has the leverage. For those that, disagree with me, you're flat out wrong. Respect it, but you're wrong. She's holding all the cards. If she decides tomorrow, frig this, I'm out, the league will suffer. It's not going to fold and crumble in a day, but you watch how many people turn around and say, I'm never going to watch the WNBA again. So if you know that, if you understand that, why are you not protecting her? Why are you not going out of your way? Why is the commissioner almost protecting a player who punched her in the throat because the player's getting hate emails and threats, which I don't condone at all. I don't condone at all. It's horrible. But yet she's also not protecting Caitlin Clark. The reason revenue is up, the reason you have the CBA, the reason salaries are up, the reason ratings are up, the reasons that it was able to spearhead a broadcast deal. These are undeniable facts. So when you come at me and you sit there and say you're wrong, you know what you're talking about. No, you are wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. Stay in your friggin' lane with this. I know exactly what I'm talking about in this regard because I do my research. I talk to people. I've covered these leagues as well. I know what I'm talking about. And it's getting to the point where you have a player like this that is going to turn around and say enough is enough, period. You don't think she was also the driving force, any type of capital raise, any type of ratings boost, merchandising boost? Come on. It's factual. But people don't want to deal with the facts. They don't. They want to live in a little safe little bubble, reality world. That's all. She can make money playing overseas. A lot of these players can make money playing overseas. Okay? AT just dirty player, can't compete with talented players, she tries to bully them, whether them intentionally tries to hurt them or she does not hurt them. Look, whether these players are, more physical is one question. Is the perception that they're bullying Caitlin Clark, the officials, the referees are bullying Caitlin Clark, the league is bullying Caitlin Clark, it's swayed against Caitlin Clark? Those are true. Those are true. And the reason there's always this backlash when a player fouls Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark has enormous mass appeal. So when you love a player, when you love something so much, you're almost obsessed with it, you can't harm it. Leave it alone. Don't touch her. Don't foul her. People go up in arms. And it's magnified more on what? Social media. It's magnified wherever you hang your hat, your political stance, whatever network you watch, because we don't even need to get into it, but let's just call it for what it is. If you watch CNN, they're going to say X. If you watch Fox, they're going to say Y. You want to find somewhere in the middle for Z? So be it. But social media, it manifests itself. It magnifies the problem. It makes it worse. Why? Because the only thing we see is someone getting punched in the throat. Right? And then you see Cunningham doing this with the finger, getting under players' skins, right? Trying to bait, going back and forth. That's what it's becoming. That's not fun to watch. That's not entertaining. Now you start to get in the element of Bush League. Now, yes, it becomes that element of, come on, man, what are we doing? This is not talented. This is not fun. I don't want my young kids to watch this. I'm not going to invest my time in this. This is not basketball. This is not basketball. Now it's just like every single time down the floor. Look, maybe I'm too old school with this. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm too old school with this. But, I grew up, you make the play, you make the play. You score a touchdown, you score a touchdown. I'm all for the celebration, right? You make the tackle, you make the tackle. But, the theatrics, enough is enough. You get paid to do a job. Just do it. I mean, I've called out guys on the air calling these games for 94.50. Make a three and you're get your ass back on defense, man. What are you doing? Stop enjoying your press clippings. Get back on defense. But this is where we're at. Everyone wants a showboat. We want the theatrics. Why? We want the clicks. We want the views. We want the numbers. We want the engagement. It's one of the issues with social media. I try to come on. I'm very honest. I'm raw at times. I'm too honest. I'm not trying to clickbait. I'm not trying to rage bait. I'm sorry if it rage baits some people. I mean, I guess, you're kind of showing who you really are. And that's who you are. I'm not going to have a cup of coffee with you. People believe what they want to believe. People have opinions, right, wrong, or indifferent. But the league itself has a major problem. The officiating is borderline. It's malpractice. It's a bad product. Anytime you have bad officiating, the product suffers. As somebody commented earlier, you don't want 5,000 whistles. And it was funny because they were 100% correct. I think it was Mike or someone that commented, if you turn around, you get the NBA in here and they start officiating, you're going to have fouls every second, right? Yes, and that's what happens. They're obsessed, the masses. You guys see it. Look what happened. I mean, God forbid if someone goes on social media, and if you follow music, if you love music, remember when someone was like criticizing Taylor Swift? I mean, oh my God, you had millions of like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, swarm in flocks get on that person on social media. That's where we're at. She triggers that. She triggers that. That's all. She triggers that. And the WNBA should use it to their advantage. But they don't know how. I mentioned it. I said it 2 weeks ago, David. I mentioned it 2 weeks ago. She can get backing. I mean, here's another outside the box. You don't think Caitlin Clark can create her own league with the backing of Nike? Or private equity firms, investment firms? Yes, she can. Some of you are undervaluing how much her value is, her markability. She can literally cause a league to crumble. She can. Now, right now, she's worth about 10 to 15, but that's not even talking about ultimately the markability, doing all the commercials and the branding. I mean, she doesn't care about her salary. It's all about the Caitlin Clark effect. I'm going to give you a number before we close it out. The value, okay, when you talk about the Indiana Fever, the value of it as a whole, these franchises, her presence, if you go back, you can look it up. Her presence basically for the league, these franchises, they've skyrocketed to now where you're talking $250, $300 million. Record-breaking viewership, eyeballs, sold-out arenas, merchandise, massive merchandise appeal, inspiring, young kids, they want to watch. You got older people, they want to watch. Her numbers are gaudy. She's a great player, and the league was never prepared for her. And now they're going to suffer the consequences because it's just a matter of time. It is just a matter of time, right? Does anyone know? Let me see. It's enough, Tanya. He covers NFL. Oh, what, Tanya questioning me? What happened? Yeah, I'd like to cover the NFL too. I like your style, Rich Q. If you cover the New York Giants, I'm subbing. Tanya, what are we doing? Tanya, 1887. Tanya Williams, 18. I got to call you out right now. What you see it? You see it right behind me. You see it right behind me. Yeah, we're dropping later on today. We're dropping our NFC North and our NFC West, and I appreciate you liking my style. If I cover the Giants, listen, I will say this: it's rough. It's rough having to watch the Eagles kick the snot out of the Giants for a while, right? David, come on now. Where are we going with that one, my friend? I like the sound of the Upshot League, create an own league, somewhere to create a league that is clear and more positive. And that's what she can do. Like, why can't any player can do that as long as you have that? Money solves everything. Money solves everything, right? It's, it's the root of all evil, but it solves everything in life. If you have money, if you have a lot of money, if the great line, even though now for those that are first time chiming in, and you guys are fantastic, thank you. We do this pretty much 5 days a week. If you like the content, definitely sub to the channel. Rich Quinones on cue right here. You see a lot of my content. We go NFL too, but I'm also a movie guy. I love movies. We talk movies on the air too. The remake of The Gambler was horrible. But there's a line in the movie where John Goodman says, you got to invest, you got to diversify, you have to have FU money. Do you know what that means? Yeah, when someone calls you, you can tell them FU. When you have that type of money, you can do whatever you want. So money does solve a lot of our problems. It really does. With the right backing, the right marketability, branding, PR, her face, she can create a league if she wanted to. She can go to this Upshot League and she can just basically now increase the viewership and compete with the WNBA. So she can basically turn around, F you, and oh, by the way, I'm going to kick you in the nuts on the way out the door. That's what she can do. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Come on, we've all thought about that when we got jilted, right? You break up with someone, you want to turn around, and you want to get in shape, and you want to show them that you're better off without them. The best revenge is living a well life. You lose your job, you get a better job. You guys got rid of me? Pfft, I don't need you anymore. She can do that. She holds all the cards. And that's where I started to show off with. She holds all the cards. So yeah, would I be shocked if she turned around and said, I'm done for a year. I am retiring. I'm done with the WNBA. I'm going to dick around and play around and overseas. It's not going to surprise me. I'm going to create my own league. It's not going to surprise me. It's not. They believe they can survive if CC leaves, but they can't accept that a player could come in and break all the records and be like MJ for the WNBA. That has been, that is a great, Ashley, that is a fantastic point. There's jealousy. There's pettiness, right? There's jealousy. There's pettiness. And it's resonating big time. Now, think about this. You're with your friends. We've all been there, even when we were younger, right? You don't like how someone's acting. What do? Look, you're young, you're immature. You start japping, talking, behind the ears, and maybe you're not happy with your friend, and you're, man, don't hang out with this. Don't hang out. That's going on right now in the WNBA. It's going on in the locker rooms. The trash talking on the floor. I'm telling you right now, they're sitting there in the huddle. They're like, knock her on her ass. Teach her a lesson. I mean, this is your, baptismal by fire, but yet she's not a rookie anymore. They still can't get over it. See, the problem is they're treating her like a rookie. They're not even treating her like a rookie. They're treating her like a piece of garbage. And again, as I started the show off 2 hours ago, haven't taken a break, by the way. White, black, yellow, green, purple, I don't care. I'd say the same thing today. It's not changing. The commissioner needs to go. She needs to go. She does not care about the product. She's trying to appease. You cannot placate and appease two masters. You can't. You can't. You can't. She's in over her head. She saw eyeballs, viewership, money, cash cow, Caitlin Clark, here we go. And then the shitstorm that followed of the popularity, the growth, the explosion, had no idea how to handle it. It's like a celebrity overnight. You don't know how to handle it. If she was smart, she would have handpicked or worked with a firm to handle hiring within. Protocol, standard operating procedure, PR. You got a commemorative poster and you don't have Caitlin Clark on it. Somebody lost their job. Somebody lost their job. I'm telling you, there was an intern probably drinking a cup of coffee saying, hold on a second. Kathy, by the way, you admitted Caitlin Clark and run it through the press. Run it through the press. %100%. That we will agree with. Yes. She's got issues. She's not a good commissioner. She's just, this is what, you learn this very early in life, right? You cannot please everyone. You can't. And a good commissioner, it's like the negotiation, right? You got two sides. When you have a negotiation, I want what I want, you want what you want, or you value me a certain way. I walk away, I'm not pissed, but I'm not overly happy. You walk away, you're not pissed, but you're not overly happy. That's the mark of a good negotiation, a good compromise. She's not even willing to do that. You cannot protect the player, which I appreciate and respect, who's dealing with hate like Thomas is, but then not come out and say, well, yes, it was a flagrant, it was a rough foul. We don't condone, we know the popularity of some of our players, but we don't want our fan base to take it out on other players in the league. That's not what we're all about. Is that so hard to do? That took 30 seconds, 20 seconds. She doesn't even want to do that. Why? Because she doesn't give a shit. She does not care. She doesn't care. She doesn't. I got power. I'm in control. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And then watch what happens when the cash cow leaves, when the queen leaves. I mean, hell, what did they say? What's the saying, man? You're going for the king, you better finish the job. You're going for the queen, you better finish the job. It's going to come back and bite him in the ass. That's it. Tanya, I'm telling you right now, we dive into Big Blue. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about offensive line? You want to talk about that wide receiver room? You want to talk a little depth? You want to talk Jackson Dart, year number 2 under Harbaugh? We can get into it. We can get into it. We talk New York. You see a little mini helmet back there? Come on. You want me to show you the mini helmet? We talk Giant football. We go heavy in the NFL. And the problem is, Tanya, just to let you know, we have a lot of Eagles fans and Dallas fans that chime in. So sometimes if you tune in on a Monday or a Woosah Wednesday or after a Giant loss, you will be more entertained than you are today. That's just a fact. Yes, we talk a lot of Giants football. Yes, we do. Because I'm a New York guy. But we like to talk national stuff. But we do go New York-centric at times, 100%. Let me see. 100% correct. Bottom line. Q is responsive to the chat to bring up the Giants. Would definitely get into the... Yes, exactly. Yep. They have to. George, they have to. And listen, the coach came out. You got to protect the player. The organization has to back the player because they know. They know what they have in front of them. My whole argument when I came on also too was, listen, man, I cannot for the life of me understand how some people are just kind of missing the boat. The big picture in all of this is there is talent in this league. There is. But when you allow officiating to be as bad as it is, like any other league, you take it as a joke. You've lost credibility. You've got no cachet with me anymore. If you clean up the officiating, if, like, you take the suggestion of Caitlin Clark, you invest in the officiating, you invest in the refereeing, you treat them like a full-time employee, you put them on suspension. Anyone that works a job, when they cut your hours, they're hitting you in the wallet. You don't want that. I got to step it up. I got to put in overtime. I got to, be doubly fast. I got to get going. Hit them in a wallet. Suspend them. Grade them. After every game, there's got to be a grading system. All these other leagues, correct me if I'm wrong, we have pool reports. Pool reports. Call them out. If they missed it, call them out. Because in the NBA and the NFL, what do we hear on a Monday? Yeah, the NFL came out and they said they missed that third down. They missed that pass interference call. Yeah, they missed that roughing the passer call on Mahomes. Oh, yeah, they shouldn't have thrown the flag there. It was questionable. NBA does the same thing. Call them out. Have a pool report. Put them on blast. I'm not saying, again, expose them, but to some extent expose them. Call them out. Do a grading system. And if they're failing, I'm sorry, they're suspended. You're suspended one time. Go back in training. Understand. Show them the game footage. Let me ask you something. What did you see here? Why in the world did you not call this a flagrant one right here? Why did you call this a flagrant two? Did you miss traveling? Did you see the double dribble? How in the world did you call that goaltending? Hell, we saw it in the NBA. The NBA tried to expand and extend that friggin' NBA Finals like no other. Everyone knew it. And that's why Windhorst came out with the report today. With the cap and the second apron, and the Knicks made a mockery of the NBA. They made a mockery of the postseason. They made a mockery of the NBA Finals. And Adam Silver was sitting there, forget about the gambling. He was probably shitting in his pants thinking, oh my God, 5-game series. We needed to go 7. And the Knicks basically just spit in the wind right there and said, to hell with that. Go back and get it to that with the officiating. Train these guys and girls. And if you can't, if they're not up to snuff, get rid of them. I don't need the whole, if you want to do the video after review, I mean, every league's kind of doing that, and it's going to be in some of these smaller leagues as well. If you want to do that, do that. But I want the game to be sped up. Like baseball is supposed to be played at a certain pace. But I want these games to get sped up. I don't want to mess the flow, the rhythm of the rhyme of these games. So that's what they have to do. They have to get back to doing that. They have to. And they just won't. They just won't. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Gracias por tu tiempo. Thank you. Ashley, this is the first chat I didn't have to sub to join the chat I subscribed. Well, you know what? I mean, now I feel like I'm being used right now. You can chat and not sub? Come on, Ash. You get flowers the next day. What's going on here? Obviously, that was just PR BS that Clark said. You talking about our comments? Right? Nah. Let me see. Cece can say what she wants, but we have eyes and a brain, and we see her being attacked and not being treated fairly and not being appreciated. I believe my eyes and ears more than anything else. She's going absolutely nowhere. I'm telling you, by the way, that's a hell of a handle. The road less chosen. That's a good handle. I appreciate that handle. I don't know, my friend. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. That's all I'm saying. Stranger things have happened. Players, athletes, when they have that FU money, life's a lot easier. They can decide exactly what the hell they're going to do. If she goes to this upshot league, it will cause the WNBA to fold. It will. If she goes overseas, the NBA is not going to fold tomorrow. It will have a hard time sustaining. You have to understand, one person and all the money and the branding and the marketing and the advertising. That's what I'm saying. I believe, with all due respect, some on the chat are undervaluing what she's brought to the team. Do you remember when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they saved the NBA, right? 79, Michigan State, Indiana State, here we go, boom, boom, boom. You look at the 80s, the only 2 teams to play in the NBA Finals every single year in the 80s, Boston and the Lakers. David Stern, God rest his soul, they saved the NBA. There was markability. If they didn't come out when they came out, the NBA would have been in trouble. The NBA would have been in trouble because it was a watered-down product and it wasn't taken serious. There was bad basketball. Then all of a sudden, hey, here we go. White guy from French Lick, Showtime, wall-to-wall Hall of Famers, Boston Garden, the Forum, let's run it. Guy can play. This Magic, my God, 6'9" guard, point guard, ball handler, wizard, skill with the basketball. Save the NBA. Ratings, celebrities start to go to games. Look at courtside, right? Jordan coming into the league. She's had that effect. And I don't know if people want to dismiss it because she's a female. I don't know. But I can't. The numbers don't lie. The numbers, they're factual. They're not fake. They're not derived. They're not conjured up. So when you look at ratings, it pinpoints one player. Are there other players in the league that are good? Yes. Are they equally as good? Yeah, you can make that argument. Absolutely. I would say she's the 3rd best guard in the league. But there's more to it. There's more to it. That's all I'm saying. And when she's being treated this poorly and she's already done, or she's given, or the Caitlin Clark effect has caused the league to take this monumental jump in revenue and ratings and all the stuff we discussed for the last 2+ hours, when she decides, you know what, I'm not feeling it, and they really don't treat me good. You know, I got my deal with Nike. Look at all the shit I've done for this league. I mean, come on, you guys work jobs. You're hitting your quota, you're meeting your deadline, you're doing everything you need to do, and then it's time for a raise, and the boss is like, we'll get you next year. We'll get you next year. We'll get you next year. Well, hold on a second. The dude that comes in at 10 and leaves at 4 is getting a raise. What the hell? He's a buddy of mine. Yeah, okay. What do? You go home and you revise your resume. You're not going to deal with that anymore. It's going to come to a point, and I think her comments, it's that little straw that's starting to break the camel's back. That's all I'm saying. And you might revert back to this episode and say, man, he was talking fast for 2 hours, but he made sense. He hit the nail right on the head. It ain't happening today, and it's not happening tomorrow. But the conversation will be had. She has to take a look at her future going forward in the WNBA. And the WNBA has to also take a look at the potential of losing her. Not today, not tomorrow, but going forward. And the ramifications. They made their bed, and guess what? They're going to have to lie in it. That's it. They're going to have to lie in it. To not have... it's not even diabolical. It's horrible. Another self-delete. Yeah. She has the same agent as White. I don't think she knows the power she has. MJ said, I want this, and it happened. It changed the complete league for MJ, and she could do the same thing. Yeah, we agree. I think she knows what power she has, though. I think she's a smart kid. I think she knows exactly, and the quiet ones are usually the ones you got to watch out for, right? The quiet, what do you always, you always hear that old expression, the loudest ones in the room. Doesn't mean you're the smartest. The quiet ones are sneaky diabolical. They just kind of go about their business. What she said about the league and the officiating and do better, that's a direct shot at the commissioner. That's a direct shot across the bow. She is putting, her comments just put the league on notice. They put the league on notice. I actually didn't see the helmet until now. At this point, I think Clark is better off leaving the league. It might come down to that. Tanya should join Bronco Nate. Now, you know what? Let's not scare off new viewers of the show. Broncos Nation. Worry about that defense trying to pick up the slack again next year, Michael. Will you? No Broncos. I can't believe she just the mini helmet. Negative on. Oh, look at that. She's Queens. All right, there we go. We can live with that. I agree. If she doesn't use the power she has, she needs to go a different league. She's going to get permanently injured if she stays in the W. And then what happens? Yep. Then what happens? Now she's not available. Ratings are going to go down. And then what? And then her body's starting to get banged up, and she's probably taking a different approach. All right. We are going to start wrapping it up. You guys are fantastic. We are going to be back on the air tomorrow. So if you guys enjoy the show, I appreciate it greatly. I have some hoops to call later today. How about that on a, whatchamacallit, on a 4th of July. We got 3 back to back to back. By the way, if you guys like overseas basketball, we'll start broadcasting them on my channel. Well, that's going to be Thailand in January and February. So I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. That's all. If you guys like hoops. All right. Excellent comments. You guys can definitely subscribe to the channel. Definitely follow me on X at IG, on TikTok at RichQ on the mic. I post a lot of shorts, and I also post a lot of videos on TikTok that certainly get under people's skin. But you guys have been 2.5 hours. You guys are unbelievable. On a Saturday on July 4th, you guys are hanging out with me for 2.5 hours. So for those that chimed in for the very first time, I greatly appreciate it. For those that trolled me, I greatly appreciate it. For those that spew hate towards me, I greatly appreciate it. And for those that enjoyed the show and commented along civilly, I greatly appreciate it. We will be back. We're dropping a couple NFL videos later on today. I mentioned NFC. Lloyd Vance and I are NFL Insider, Sports Radio 102.9 FM, The Game. We did NFC West. We did the NFC West and the North. I'm going to drop that later on. But you guys are fantastic. And like I said, you guys have free reign. Come on the air at the end of the day. The show is for you guys to voice your opinion, right? You can comment. We would love to try to get calls set up, which is going to be down the road. But the reason we enable the chat is so you guys can troll me all you want. You can agree, you can disagree. You guys can go back and forth in the chat as long as we keep it civil, right? That's what it's all about. It's sports talk at the end of the day. We all have opinions. We're all passionate about, sports talk. We're passionate about our sports teams. We're passionate about certain, subjects that have to do with sports. When you start to blend in the social and the race and straight line equality, the fair competitive, all that kind of stuff, right? And what I try to do, what I've always tried to do over the years, and I've been doing this a while, is dive into certain subjects that I think others don't want to dive into, or not really do the research or the homework, or have compelling, engaging content, or have people allow themselves to express their opinion freely. Because at the end of the day, fitting enough, July 4th, 250, enjoy it, right? Freedom. You are entitled to your opinion. Now, some of the comments I don't always agree with. And I think sometimes, I can take it to a line, but I rarely cross it. Like, remember, ultimately, you have free reign. You can speak your opinion, but again, we kind of, this is not a show or sports talk show or channel. Like, we don't tolerate the hate. You guys can have fun going back and forth, but just do it in a mature manner. That's all. Just in a mature, because again, it's sports talk. We're just talking sports. We're talking about what's going on in the world of sports, how it affects us, our daily lives, covering sports as long as I've had. I've seen it all. And I get it. This is not my first rodeo. I've been around the block. I've been doing this for a minute. So trust me when I tell you, you guys can come at me all you want. It does not bother me at all. I actually appreciate it. I enjoy it because that means I got under your skin or I made you think about something. That's the goal, not to get under the skin, but make you think a little bit, entertain you, engage you a little bit. And you engage me back. And that's why a lot of shows will not read off comments. They just won't. They won't. A lot of radio shows, even when I do my show during the week, I still like to take calls. Some people don't like to take calls. They don't want to be called out. You call me out all you want. That's fine. Call me out. I don't have a problem with that. We can have fun. We go back. I mean, when NFL starts, I have no idea what the hell is going to go on the air. I mean, I can tell right now by some of the comments, by some of you guys. You guys are fanatical with your sports, which I love. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, when the NFL, there's going to be, we got our Man Up Mondays, right? We got our Lunos Mentiroso, Manolo Man Up Mondays. We got our Woosah Wednesdays. I'm adding a new segment on Fridays when we do our picks, so we're going to have fun with that. But, I definitely want all you football fans. And you can come at me all you want and tell me how bad the Giants suck. The Knicks won a championship. That's all that matters. All right, so if you like to comment, if you enjoyed today's show, like I said, the best you can do is just keep the comments coming. And also subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. We're going to be back at it tomorrow on a Sunday. If you are barbecuing, grilling out there, have yourself fun today on July 4th. I know the weather is oppressive, so keep yourself cool. Maybe a little hot toddy, a little beverage of your choice. If you like coffee as much as I do, check out the show notes. We are powered by our good friends over at Fresh Roasted Coffee. 20% off your first purchase. It's all about a shameless plug. Tanya, I will make sure I get a bigger Giants helmet the next time for you. But I appreciate all the new, Mike, Ashley, all you guys, Tanya. I mean, so many comments. Just like I said, the best you guys can do that humbles me doing this is basically just hitting the subscribe button and following along the show. Following along my broadcast and the show and the podcast, and obviously what I'm doing going forward. Oh, you got a Bucks fan. We got a lot of Tampa fans. So shameless plug, shameless plug, Monday to Friday, Destin FM scoreboard show in the Panhandle. We're going to be talking a lot of what's going on in Florida sports. So there you go. So we'll have to figure out a way to get a little Tampa Bay Bucks helmet in there for you. So we don't like to play favorites on the air, but we keep it New York centric. All right, so thank you guys again. As always, as I mentioned, this is On Cue. I'm Rich Quinones. Hope you enjoyed the show today and the channel. YouTube, SR1029 FM, The Game, Kicks, Rumble, Millions, and my YouTube channel, XIG, at Rich Q on Q, TikTok, Rich Q on the mic. That's the best way to follow me. Have a wonderful 4th of July. Be safe, be sound. We're going to be back on the air mañana. Who knows what we're going to talk about tomorrow? Maybe we talk a little baseball. Maybe we continue with a little NBA. I got some new videos up on the NBA. Joel Embiid's legacy, right? Actually, this makes me double think what's been thinking about. And you... Well done, DV. A lot of football. We'll start to dive into, obviously, these divisions a little more. We got another show dropping later on, as I mentioned, the divisional matchups, divisional round. We previewed, Lloyd and I did. That'll drop later on tonight. Back at it, mañana. Have a good sports Saturday. Enjoy your 4th of July. And as always, appreciate you tuning in to On Cue. I'm Rich Quinones. Be safe, be sound. Hasta luego, buen día.